Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by the head football coach at Grand Haven. That, of course, is Andrew Biendenbender. How's it going?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, we've been through the summer so far. I know we're almost heading into August, and that means, of course, two-a-days is only a few weeks away. We'll kind of go through how the summer's gone for you in year two of being the head coach at Grand Haven.
Yeah, it's been really good. I think we've had an awesome turnout. I just being in year two of things kind of make it a little more comfortable for me. I think you get to learn from how you did things last year, as opposed to this year. And also, I think being in the school for a whole year has been awesome. I mean, last year I got hired and didn't actually start with doing work with the guys until mid-June. So this has been good to have a whole calendar year to just be with those guys. But we've had a lot of time to be together. We got out of school pretty early, so we got to start the whole month of June together. Had a bunch of 7-on-7, some joint team camps. Actually won a 7-on-7 tournament in Grand Rapids. So that's been good to have some success going across. But yeah, great numbers this year. A lot of guys coming back, and we're excited to move into two-a-days coming up here soon.
Yeah. Okay, so I know last year was a building year for you guys, but really let's talk about this group. What have you noticed out of and you just said it, of course you had a lot of time to work with them because obviously with all the practices the MHSAA gave everybody. What has this summer been like?
Yeah, I think it's been really cool to see a lot of these guys grow. I mean, we had a really small senior class last year, only about 8 guys who are seniors, and for a school almost 2,000, that's almost unheard of. And this year we've got about 26 or 27 seniors coming back. So that's been a big thing just to see those guys grow as leaders and players. A lot of them are 2 to 3 year starters, so having that experience back has been huge. And getting those guys along the underclassmen going with them too. So that's been the biggest growth I would see is that senior leadership and just the experience and the familiarity with me, our system, and us coaches moving forward.
Yeah. Okay, now it's time to talk about the guys that are going to be returning and some of the names to watch out for your team this year. We'll start with the skill positions and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so Will Kerenstra is a starting receiver coming back. He just actually committed to Grand Valley last week, so I'm really excited for him. I'm a former Grand Valley grad as well, so always good to see another person play for the black and blue. So he's a 3-year starter. He can do so many things for us at the wideout position. Our wideout position is pretty loaded. We've got Xavier Rodriguez, who played some quarterback for us last year. He's going to be one of our slot receivers. And one person I'm really looking forward to see is Alex Dixon. He's a tight end for us. Last year played wide out, but he's put on some good size, and he's going to be, tough matchup for some of those linebackers. And we also got a couple other younger guys who are, trying to make their way as receivers with Colin Munford, who's going to be a junior for us, and KV Kerenstra, Will's younger brother, another slot receiver, and then Will Spoonis on the outside. So the weapons on the outside are pretty exciting for us. And then we've got 2 running backs, Dean Matson, who split some time last year, and then Andrew Williamson, a sophomore, who is an absolute stud in the weight room, has got some great speed. So excited to see those guys kind of, develop and mold as we go along. And then we're led by our quarterback, Luke Berry, tall, big body quarterback who can get the ball around. And, his leadership this offseason, I think he could be one of those guys that you could do a lot of things with. We, as a coaching staff, I think we would always say we'd run through a brick wall for that guy too, just because he wants to do everything he can to make sure this team is going to be successful.
All right, let's go to the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, so that's a spot. We've got a couple of guys coming back. Harrison Young, Carson Hardy are two starters for us that are coming back. Two big guys up front, so that's always good to have. And we got a couple of juniors and some sophomores that have got game experience for us that are going to be helping out. Camden Meeker is going to hopefully be one of our centers. Jonah Bromer was the outside linebacker tight end. He's moving into the tackle position. And then Dom Parada is going to be a sophomore who was up on JV last year for us. So a lot of big guys there. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the nice thing is this year we're trying to avoid a lot of those guys going both ways. We got a couple of our defensive linemen that are strictly defensive linemen, and Wyatt Siernecki and Ethan Riggs. And then we'll have a couple of other big guys from the offensive side kind of rotate in there too. But that's the key for us, trying to, as a staff, figure out how can we, try to get, 22 guys out there starting instead of, just 15 or, 12 like we had last year. I think the people we compete against, that's the goal, is if you can have some 2 platoon system, that's going to keep your guys fresh.
Yeah. And let's go to the linebackers in secondary.
Yeah, linebackers, we've got a loaded position there led by Connor Van Beek. He's kind of the heart and soul of our team. And athletically, he's He's a big 6'1", 205-pound outside linebacker who's a starter last year for us. Got a couple Division II offers as well, and he's the emotional leader. I would say that defense. He gets guys going. He's always flying around and making plays. And then you got Sam LeDronc, who's coming back as an inside linebacker starter. And then a couple of juniors that had great success in our JV team are going to be coming back, in Sawyer Harris and Levi Tubergen. Both guys are kind of your hard-nosed linebackers, the old school guys who just want to come downhill and hit somebody. So excited to see them. And then going to our secondary, you got Corey Preston is one of those guys that's going to be, making some plays out there at a cornerback. Ryan Moore is another body. Xavier Rodriguez can go over that on defensive side as well. Then our safeties are Carson Tiedoff and Dean Matson. So the nice thing, again, I think I only repeated maybe one or two names of guys who are going to be offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. So that's a huge thing for us as a team. But a lot of those other guys on the offensive side can rotate over there as well. But we've got a lot of depth on both sides of the ball.
Okay, so let's go now. Let's special teams.
So special teams, we get our kicker back. Yeah, Bryant Taylor. He's going to be a junior. He's one of those kickers that goes to all those kicking camps and has some great success. And we never got to see it last year because right before the season he tore his ACL in a soccer game. So that was kind of devastating for us. So we're excited to see him. He's got a leg. He went to a camp this summer. I think he hit a couple 53-yard field goals. So seeing his leg out there and having someone who we feel comfortable with, he can kick the ball, in a couple spots is going to be big for us. So he's going to kind of take hold of both the kicking and punting games. And we've got a couple other just, good, solid, role players that can fill those special team spots. KV Kerenstra is probably going to be one of our kick returners, that sophomore I talked about before. So a lot of guys going to get a chance to get on the field and make some impact for us.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we've talked about all the kids. Let's talk about the schedule. And obviously, I think when you're in the division that you're in, which of course is the OK Red, it's going to be it is many regarded as one of the toughest, or even the toughest division in the entire state. So I'll go through. I'll just go through the schedule. Starting the season on August 30th at Stevensville Lakeshore. September 6th, they'll be home against Traverse City West. September 13th, home against Holland West Ottawa. September 20th, home against Caledonia. September 27th at Granville. October 4th at Hudsonville. October 11th, home against East Kentwood. October 18th at Rockford. And then finishing out the regular season, October 25th at Jenison. So, tons of talent in that division, of course, and pretty good non-conference games for you guys.
Yeah, honestly, I think you list off that schedule. I think there's 6 of those teams, or 5 or 6 of those teams are playoff teams from last year. We had the Stevensville Lakeshore this year. It's a Division III school, so not too many people around or up here know about it, but very solid program. Had a lot of history. I think they've made the playoffs 10 times in the last 12 years. They've got a great coach up there who's, I think, his going to his 4th year, but they got some great talent. A couple guys up front. They got a young quarterback that can sling it around. So smaller school, but it's still going to give us, a very good test, and it's a solid program. Then Traverse City, always, a test for us, kind of a rivalry of the Coast Guard towns back and forth. But again, they're a solid team and a solid conference. And then, you get to the OK Red, and you said it's probably one of the most difficult. I would say it's probably one of the most complete conferences in the state. I think top to bottom, you're going to find, you got a team that goes 2-7, and then that team maybe in another conference is, going to be in the top 2 or 3. So there's really no off weeks, but that's what we like about it. That's why, we're in this conference. That's why I took this job. And the conference as a whole, there's a couple new coaches coming here. There's some talent. East Kentwood just got a new guy who obviously has won some state championships at Martin Luther King, and Jenison just got a head coach who's got a state championship under his belt, and Josh Lucas. So there's the caliber of coaching staff and the caliber of players is definitely something that's exciting, but also can make it so there's really no off week, and you always got to be on your game.
Absolutely. So take me through these next few weeks for you guys. Where what are we looking at as because we have the dead period, and of course you guys have gotten to work on a lot of things over the summer because the MHSA gave you those additional practices. So how are the guys feeling heading into that second period where obviously no contact can be had, but obviously you can still condition and all that fun stuff. But a lot of teams are just saying, okay, we might just give you the time off and do what you need to do before we really get into the season beginning on the 12th.
Yeah, it's a different summer this year. Like I said, we have full three months off of school, which is good for us, but also can sometimes make it feel like a long summer. But we've had periods of we're going to ramp it up a little bit, periods we're going to kind of hold it back. The last couple of weeks have been kind of go on purpose because we knew that this is kind of approaching. Also, this coming week is Coast Guard Fest in Grand Haven. It's one of the biggest festivals on the west side of the state. So we still have our workouts. They're going to happen in the morning, but some of the like team camp stuff is kind of finished out with because we want to make sure that, if we have anyone who has to have any other things they have to be at, they're not going to be missing that stuff. But we're still making sure we're finished out this week strong with some workouts. And we do give the kids some time away because we tell them August 12th, it's time to go. So it's a good chance. Our coaching staff's going to still have a lot of meetings, but the players are going to have stuff. I know a lot of the guys are probably going to we have open weight room times for them to go, but it's time for families to get away. But as soon as August 12th kind of comes, it's time to go. And we ramp it up right away. I mean, you get really 2.5 weeks and you're playing a game. So it's exciting. We got our countdown clock in our weight room right now. I think it's at 33 days before our first game. So it's fast approaching.
Yeah. All right. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for the time as always, and best of luck to you guys as the season in the 2024 season.
Thanks. I really appreciate having me.
All right.